Hey everybody, just checking I'm recording because decided to not bring up the little notification for me. Hope you guys are all doing very well. We're back. We are here for another transfer roundup, I guess, transfer chat, and I'm also going to round up a bit more of the kits because we've had some more updated here on the Premier League website. I know a lot of you were very upset that I didn't cover your team with my obviously right opinions. I don't think Bournemouth had an away kit last time. It's actually alright. I'm not 100% sure if this kind of pink line here necessarily matches up with the logo, but I know sometimes they can't design both. I quite like the badge in the way it is there, with the kind of like negative to the badge here, if you like. It's quite cool, I think. It's not the worst kit, actually, and for a number of kits, it's actually not too bad. And I think that's their third kit, is it, which is just pretty garish, isn't it? But I kind of understand with third kits, because you have to do something pretty different, because otherwise it's going to, you want it to not clash. If you're having to use a third kit, it's because your first two kits are probably clashing. We had a look last time at Arsenal's. We saw their away kit. A lot of you disagree with me about Arsenal's kit. You're all wrong. Firstly, it's disgusting. I'm joking. Each their own, obviously. Fashion is a personal choice. I don't mind retro stuff, but I don't know about that. Aston Villa's away kit we had. Here we can actually see some pictures of it. Looking alright, I guess. Yeah. It's okay, yeah. We had a Bournemouth's away kit, Burnley, which is actually quite nice. I actually genuinely like this. I think that's pretty cool. There is a little bit of a training top kind of going on. The Chinese symbols, I think, look quite good, weirdly. I'm actually a bit of a fan of that. Their home kit, I was saying, just looks very standard, and, it just looks like Burnley's kit, doesn't it, really? But that away kit's actually alright, I think. Quite like this detail at the top here. I like the blue they're using in that. Looks alright. We spoke about Chelsea, we obviously spoke about Palace. Everton's away kit here. I don't know what colour you would call that. Is it like a peachy orange? We spoke about Everton's home kit and not really being too much of a fan of the kind of check on there, but I think the away kit's better. I don't know if I like that colour necessarily, but I think that would grow on me, actually, and I think it's alright. Yeah, I quite like that. We saw Leicester, we saw Liverpool. I don't think we saw the Liverpool third kit, which I'm not sure what's going on there. Again, third kits are always a little bit dodgy, aren't they, to be fair? Quite like the black and the kind of turquoisey blue, but I'm not 100% sure about this pattern here, what exactly is going on there, and they've kind of tried to keep this theme of it being in the, I don't know. It's not terrible, I just think it's not great, really. We saw all of Man City's, their third kit, I think, especially looks really cool. Man United's and their concrete away. I mean, why would you? Why? Newcastle we didn't have before, so we've got them. They've got this. They've gone for this. Obviously the black and white stripes, because that is Newcastle, and they've gone with the thicker stripes than usual. And they've got the badge in the middle with a little puma above it. This is a massive logo, isn't it? Like, that is huge. I've always liked Newcastle's kit. The black and white stripes, I think, on a kit, I like them, but I don't think this is a great style of it, and it's not a great edition of their kit, to be completely honest with you. I'm sure it's going to sell really well in Sports Direct, so good luck to them. Away kit, I don't get this. Why is your away kit the same colours as your home kit? That is black, right? That's black and white. Is there an argument to say that's a very dark green? Let's just have a look in the online store, because I'm a little bit confused right now. It looks black, Oh, okay, they got a different logo there. Fair enough. Maybe that was just for a friendly or something like that, or like because they were in China or something like that. Okay, well that's a little bit better. You can't beat shirts like that. That is just such a classic shirt from Newcastle there that it's not even, uh, okay, they don't have, I mean, that one was always my favourite Newcastle kit. That one. They don't seem to have the replica away kit, to be fair, on sale yet. So I couldn't tell you if that. I think the more I look at it, the more I think it's green, but I just don't know. You got Norwich. Norwich is away kit, which. Ooh, Norwich. Where do we start on this one? Firstly, it's disgusting. Secondly, McDonald's called and they want their uniforms back. Yeah, it's not good, is it? I mean, I kind of understand Norwich in a way. I said with their home kit, it's like when you are a kind of very garish combination of colours, is like your club colours, then it's difficult to pull it off in a stylish way. You just kind of have to own it. And I think the home kit I quite like, to be fair, but this away kit, I mean, that is something else, isn't it? I mean, I don't think they're going to clash with many teams, but Jesus Christ, that is not looking good. Sheffield United, I don't think we saw the away kit. Pretty standard, really. Not terrible. I don't know what this badge is, to be fair, but it's a weird kind of Union Jack style. I don't know. Southampton's we didn't like. Well, I didn't like. I shouldn't say we. Tottenham's away kit actually looks pretty smart, I think. Tottenham have had some pretty smart kits recently. Ever since the seatbelt kit, if you may remember that, I think their kits have looked pretty smart. They've just been very simple and not too over the top, and I think their sponsor isn't crazy over the top or anything, and yeah, I think that looks pretty smart. Watford's I actually quite like a lot. I think that the black and yellow of Watford is dare I say iconic. Don't know if they got an away kit yet. Let's have a look in their store. I especially like the way they've done it with the lettering, so it switches for the two panels. Obviously they were kind of black and yellow stripes, kind of quite traditionally, I think, kind of traditionally anyway. I guess they haven't really been, I don't think they have an away kit yet then. This is not really a very nice looking website, to be honest with you, Watford, gotta say. But I like the red there. I kind of like the fact that it doesn't go down the arm. That's a little bit different. Yeah, the little red trim, I think it just does it well. I quite like that kit, actually. It's a pretty nice kit. West Ham's, I wasn't a fan personally. Wolves, that's a nice kit. Wolverhampton Wanderers. Home kit, I've always liked Wolves kit because you have that kind of gold, and I don't know if it's unique. I can't think of another club which kind of plays in these kind of colours, this kind of gold kit, and I like it a lot, to be fair. Can't quite see it that well. Let's go to the online store. The away kit's pretty standardy, I guess. Okay, yeah, thanks. Yeah, you can see that they're kind of very retro. I'd like to get an actual picture rather than like a model picture of someone actually standing in it, so you can actually see. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. In terms of kit, again, you can't do much about shirt sponsors, can you, really? But I like the detailing on it. It's pretty cool. You've got the 3 stripes up the side for the Adidas, but they've kept it clean around the top. Yeah, that's pretty nice, actually. Wolves, in all honesty, Wolves are one of those clubs who have just been revitalised, really. I'm going to reserve judgments on whether or not you can claim that they're this kind of like foreign ownership done right in the Premier League, because there is this little bit of a shadow kind of hanging over them, and they're still kind of relatively new to this ownership, and they have just had one season. But so far, like, I mean, if you're a Wolves fan, you've got to be pretty darn happy, because they have come a long way in quite a short space of time, and they're starting to get the style together and stuff like that, and away kit's just fine. I don't think it's Let's see if we can kind of see it here. Yeah, it's fine. It's nice enough. It's different to the home kit. Still keeps some of the colours. I think the home kit's nicer. The stripes are quite nice and a little bit different, I guess. Badges, I've always liked the Wolves badge. Yeah, that's pretty good, I think. That kind of, not sure if that's everyone yet. I'll pick up more as we go along, but that's a few of the ones that I did miss last night. Oh, Norwich, what were you thinking? I'd love to know how many of these they sell. I'd love to know how many of these they sell, because Jesus Christ, you've made a football kit inspired by concrete, like genius. Meanwhile, Man City, inspired by the Hacienda nightclub, like one of the coolest places from the 80s, and this thing, which is like I don't even know what. And then Man United are like, yeah, our away kit sponsored, inspired by concrete. It's like brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Anyway, we're here more to do the football transfers. Last time we left off, it was, I think, July the 5th. It's now 30th of July as I record this during the day. So if there's anything just after this, by the time I get this up, then just bear that in mind, basically. One of the things which caught my eye was Ralph Farman going from Schalke to Norwich on loan. I thought that was interesting. Those of you who remember my FIFA series know I have a real fondness of Ralph Farman. He is a great keeper. It surprises me they got him on loan. Don't know what that's about, and it kind of surprised me as well, because Norwich have, I think, Tim Krul as their number one keeper last season. I think he did a good job, so I don't know whether or not they were like, we need two really good keepers and get that sort of competition going, or whether or not they're like, yeah, this guy's just really good and we're going to put him in. I'm not too sure. Then I thought that was a pretty good signing by Norwich there, to be fair. Wouldn't have minded that at Palace-ish. I guess we've got some good keepers. Speaking of which, we did sign a keeper on a free, Stephen Henderson from Forest. He is he's probably third choice, I would imagine, behind Hennessy and Guarita. Hopefully Guarita is going to be number one choice this season, because every time he's played he's just looked way better than Hennessy. Plus he doesn't do Nazi salutes, which in my book is a real positive for a footballer, allegedly. Well, I don't even think it's allegedly, because he was actually kind of like convicted of it by the FA, so yeah, whatever. Then we have a big one, Marko Arnautovic going to China, 22 million. A lot of people have been talking about China, especially with the whole kind of Gareth Bale thing, which we'll kind of go on to a bit later. And bemoaning this thing of, these footballers going to China, it's all about the money, all this kind of stuff. There's two sides of the coin for me, personally. When Neymar went to Paris Saint-Germain, I was very critical of him going for the money. There were a few reasons for that. Mostly, Neymar was, I think at that time, maybe 22, I think. And how was he now? He's 27 now, so maybe he was like 24 or something like that, I think. So he wasn't quite close to his prime yet, but he was playing very high level football, and I felt he just wanted to go to Paris Saint-Germain a little bit for the money, but probably a little bit more because he wanted to win the Ballon d'Or and he wanted to be number one and all this kind of thing, and probably felt like he was living in Messi's shadow a little bit. Probably hasn't worked out for him, I think we can safely say. He's won some French leagues, but listen, Paris Saint-Germain would probably win that without him, so it doesn't really matter, and it seems to have gone a bit sour now. When players, Arnautovic is 30. When players are approaching the end of their career and they make a move for money, I don't necessarily have a problem with that at all. Footballers' careers are very short. They can be exceptionally short because of injuries or other factors, and they have to turn around and think, if, say, the average lifespan of a footballer is going to be 60, 65, if you think maybe they're probably slightly fitter than the average person, maybe that, a lot of them on average might live closer to 70. So that they have to provide for themselves for another 30, 40 years, because, their career is essentially over by the time they hit 35, really. unless you're a goalkeeper perhaps. But even at 35, you're not doing that much. So if a Chinese club come in and want to pay you an extortionate amount of money to come and play there, for a couple of seasons or whatever, and that's going to basically set up your family for the rest of your life, your kids as well, etc. Can we really criticize them? If you've had a career already, then can we really criticize people for doing that? We can, I guess. We can turn around and say, Arnautovic is clearly still capable of playing at a very high level, and you can turn around and go, that's a bit of a waste that you're going to go and play in the league, which is, with no disrespect meant, is not good. But I can't say 100% I blame him. Like, if somebody turned around to me and said, hey, Phil, we want to take you from your job, we're going to pay you double what we're paying now, and you can come to this job, but it's not going to be as prestigious. Not that my job is prestigious in any way, but it's not going to be as good a job. You're not going to enjoy it quite as much as you do now, perhaps. Or I don't know. I don't even know what the kind of the comparison would be, but I'd probably take it. Of course I would. Now, admittedly, you can argue and say, well, Arnautovic is already a very wealthy man. I don't necessarily know his financial thing. I can turn around and say, yeah, he was probably on a lot of money at West Ham for the last 3-4 years. But I don't know. He might have a wife, kids, and just wants to set them up and support them. I don't agree with the way he went about it and stuff like that, but I can understand. And I think 22 million is fair for him. I think that's a fair price. I don't think that is overpaid. I don't think that is underpaid. I think that is about bang on what he is probably worth at that age. So yeah, maybe, yeah, that's fair, I think. So yeah, he's gone. Not a huge amount here, mostly lower leagues. Nottingham Forest getting a couple of Benfica players. I wonder if that's some sort of link up. Undisclosed on loan. A couple of Leeds players leaving. It kind of makes sense. Then we have some bigger ones. So we have Tyrone Mings going from Bournemouth to Aston Villa. Mings is what, right back, I want to say? Isn't he kind of like a right back, right wing back? And what, he was on loan there? Yeah, he was on loan in the second half of the season, so they've just signed him from there. Good signing. 20 million. I mean, if you're saying Wan-Bissaka's gone for 50, 20 million for Tyrone Mings doesn't seem too crazy. It's perhaps a little bit more, but 26, he could play for another 5 years easily at a high level. In today's market value, which is totally crazy, maybe that's not that crazy. And then another really big one as well, Yuri Tielemans from Monaco to Leicester, 40 million. I was surprised at this one. I was surprised Leicester, there wasn't another bid for this guy, because he looked quality for Leicester. He really made a difference to them, and they really pushed on in this kind of latter second half of the season. I was very surprised that, a big club didn't come in for him, like a Man United or something like that, who are calling out for central midfielders. Very surprising. But, I mean, I think Leicester have done a great bit of business there. 40 million is a lot of money. But that is, he's quite young as well, I believe. He's probably like, 22, 23? Does it say? 22. Yeah. So that could be a massive... massive signing for them. And if he has another really good season, there will be clubs knocking on the door for double that next season. So again, it's even if the guy is, with no disrespect to Leicester, using them as a stepping stone, like, Leicester won't lose out there, will they? They'll have a very good player for a season, and then if he is brilliant again for a whole season, and that the Man Cities and the Liverpools and that are going in for him, or even the Juventuses and Real Madrids, then they're going to get double that for him, basically. So I think that's actually a really, really good bit of business from Leicester, who I think have done some decent business. They've been spending a bit of cash as well. You can kind of see why Brendan Rodgers wanted to go to Leicester. I mean, everybody who was kind of like berating him for leaving Celtic. I mean, Celtic would never be able to sign a player for 40 million. and the player for 30 million, and they're probably going to spend close to 100 million in this transfer window, Leicester, and that's with all respect to Celtic, and I understand there's a lot of other factors going on there, but for Rodgers to bring in top players, you got to pay the cash, haven't you? So yeah. Alberto Moreno, who was let go by Liverpool's joined Villarreal. A few more lower league stuff. Jay Rodriguez joined Burnley from West Brom. They re-signed him for 10 million. I don't know how much they sold him for. I think it was probably roughly the same, to be fair. So yeah, I guess I find that a bit of a weird one. I'll be completely honest with you. I don't think he set the world on fire at West Brom. I think he was really good. I think he was really decent, but I don't think he warranted a Premier League move necessarily, but I guess they know him and stuff like that, so hopefully that works out for him, because he had some really bad injuries which held him back a lot. Lots of loans, lots of frees. Ezri Konsa, Brentford to Aston Villa, a very decent centre-back, young. Probably a good signing there from Villa. I still worry a little bit about Villa. How are they going to do in the Premier League? We'll see. But they've made some good signings so far, I think. Antoine Griezmann going from Atletico to Barcelona for 108 million. That, I believe, was his release clause. Spain have a kind of slightly different system to a lot of other countries, that a lot of their players have release clauses in their contracts, and basically when a club approaches them, they're just like, that's his release clause, you can pay it, or we're not selling him. I don't think it's actually a bad way to kind of work, but there was some discussion around this, because apparently when Barcelona approached him, it was before the lower release clause was set in, and so Atletico were like, well, then you owe us another 50 million. Which I don't know where that's going, or whether that's Atletico stamping their feet a little bit, but this transfer has been on for a very long time. Last season it was very heavily rumoured, and Griezmann did this whole kind of made this whole movie thing about it. It was so bad. Griezmann is cringeworthy to the extreme with some of the stuff. Is he a good footballer? Absolutely. Absolutely, very good footballer. I think he is definitely something that Barcelona kind of needed. It does, for me, put paid to rumours of Neymar going back there, because I don't see where they would get the money from now to sign Neymar. Suarez, I think, is on his way out a little bit at Barcelona. He's on the wane a little bit. Messi is just Messi. I mean, even if he's on the wane, he's still better than anyone else. And Griezmann, I think, is young enough that he can inject a bit of pace, a bit of life into that attack. And he's also very good defensively. It's one thing that people don't, I guess, think too much about him. I mean, Griezmann's 28, so he's not young, but you know what I mean? He's kind of in his prime, and he's still got a lot of pace about him. People don't talk about his defensive nature, because at the end of the day, he played for many years in a Diego Simeone Atletico Madrid, which was very kind of defensively minded. So he puts a shift in there. So yeah, he's a good player. 108 million, totally fair price, I think, for him, really. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what else happens at Barcelona. People coming in, people going, whatever. But I mean, you think about him maybe on the left, Dembele on the right, Messi, Suarez in the middle. That's pretty potent attack kind of going on there. Pretty potent indeed. We've got maybe not too much else. A lot of frees, a lot of loans. Funso Oji has come thought to Aberdeen. Just trying to look here, see if there's anybody else. Fabian Delph going from Man City to Everton, July 15th. I think that's a good signing for Everton, to be honest with you. I think it was undisclosed, but I think the rumours was about 15, something like that, 15 million. I think that's a really good signing. I think Fabian Delph was a little bit hard done by at Man City, because he was always used out of position a lot of the time, or he was used as a substitute, came on, and I always thought he looked pretty good. He's clearly a team player. He clearly has always put in a shift every time you see him. He's clearly happy to kind of play out of position, or he'll do it for the team type thing. Actually, okay, so I'm looking online, it's saying that actually Delph was about 10 million, so maybe about 8.5. He's 29, so they're going to get a good few seasons out of him. I think it's a very good signing, to be honest with you. Surprised a few other clubs didn't go in for him, because I think he'll be very useful. Yeah, I like that signing, to be honest with you. I kind of rate Fabian Delph. I think he's a really decent midfielder. I don't think he's a type of midfielder who's going to set the world on fire, but I think he's very solid. He's good on the ball. He's got a good engine on him, and I think he's a good team player. So I think that's a really good signing from Everton there, especially for the price they got him for. You think about it, an English player, 29, 8.5 million, central midfielder, and this is a guy who's on the verge of the England team. Probably if he played more for Man City, he would have been in the England team. So it's not bad, is it, really? Abdou Diallo, Borussia Dortmund, Paris Saint-Germain, 29 million. Paris Saint-Germain have been fairly active. You would kind of expect that, though, I guess, from Paris Saint-Germain. Maybe they're actually signing some defenders and midfielders, though, after years of just signing strikers. We'll see. But yeah, pretty solid. Eventually, Paris Saint-Germain have got to be investigated for financial fair play, haven't they? Because where are they getting this money? I don't know. Just looking up here, some of the things that caught my mind. Ravel Morrison, Ostersund's FK to Sheffield United. Ravel Morrison is an exceptionally talented footballer with a terrible attitude. He had the ability and the talent to go to the very top. He didn't want it enough. I mean, this is a thing when people talk about football. It's like, it's not just a natural thing. It's a lot of hard work and dedication. And some players get by with not a huge amount of talent, but work exceptionally hard. But very rare does any player get by having exceptional talent and not working hard. And Ravel Morrison is an example of that. He's a player who has had attitude problems and problems where he is. Whatever the reason for that is, I couldn't honestly tell you. I don't really know the guy personally, surprisingly. But he has, and he's travelled all around. I remember he went to Lazio, he went to Mexico, he was obviously in Ostersund's. And I don't know, Sheffield United, maybe this is an opportunity for him now in the Premier League to do something. It's a free. He's probably not on huge wages. I would see it as not too much of a gamble. So I think it's a decent enough signing. But, we'll see. Is he even going to play? Very, very interesting. Sam Byram, West Ham to Norwich, 750,000, solid signing. Never really got that much game time at West Ham, did he? So I guess they cut their losses. A lot of people have been sniffing around Max Aarons at Norwich, their fullback, so could be a good kind of replacement there, I guess, if they do happen to lose him, although I don't think they will this transfer window, but potentially maybe at the end of the season we could see that. Kieran Trippier, Tottenham to Atletico Madrid. This one really caught me off guard, to be completely honest with you. It's really surprising. I kind of see it happening because I don't think he had a great season, did he? And I don't know what the reason that was for. But I guess when you turn around and go, Tyrone Mings went for 20 million, Kieran Trippier went for 20 million, you might question that a little bit. Obviously, Trippier is much older. He's 28. But he has shown that he is quality. Free kicks as well, he is absolutely quality. And if, learning under Diego Simeone, I guess would be a really good opportunity for him. Obviously, it's tough going to another country. I really like English players who go abroad because you don't see it very often. I kind of understand because the Premier League is arguably the best league in the world, so why would they need to go abroad? But I do feel like, seeing players like Ramsey go to Juventus, like just broadening their horizons and learning something else, is amazing. So, absolutely fair play to Trippier. I hope it goes really well for him there. And Atletico Madrid are a really good club. So, good luck to the guy. David Nugent. This guy, he constantly move to Preston. I swear he's played for Preston 15 times in his career. Sebastian Haller, Eintracht Frankfurt to West Ham, 45 million. So this guy is a French striker. What's he, about 25, I think, something like that. Not sure if it says here. 25, yeah, he is. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. West Ham, I guess, obviously needed a striker because they lost on Arnautovic. Record signing for the club. Big things expected. Scored 15 goals in the Bundesliga, 5 in the Europa League. Was kind of the... I don't want to say unheralded, but so Jovic was the big striker for Eintracht Frankfurt, who went off to Real Madrid, and I guess Haller is the kind of the other striker, if you like. We'll see how he kind of works out for them. It will be interesting. I think that's a bit of a gamble, I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of times, big money strikers coming into the Premier League have really failed. The Bundesliga, playing for Bundesliga, kind of like mid to, upper table side. Ooh, yeah, that's going to be an interesting one to look out on. I'm not going to say it's a bad signing. 45 million is not a little amount at the end of the day. I would say it is about what a top European striker is worth nowadays, in the transfer market, if you like, without being without being an elite striker, as it were. But it's a lot of money, especially for West Ham, to pay for a striker who, if it works, 25-year-old, you could have him 5-6 years, could be an incredible signing. So we'll see, really, what comes from there. Matthäus de Ligt, going from Ajax to Juventus. This was a little bit of a surprise, I think, for a lot of people. They could see that, Man United and Barcelona were both kind of coming in for him, and I think for a long time it seemed like Barcelona were really in the lead for him, and I think he would have worked really well in Barcelona, so I could kind of understand that. But Juve, coming in and paying 70 million for him, which he's 19. I can't believe they sold him that cheaply, I'll be honest with you. He was their captain. He nearly led them to a Champions League final. He led them to domestic and cup double. He was phenomenal. Juve really needed to sign some defenders, though, to be fair, because Bonucci, Barzagli was leaving. Bonucci and Chiellini are really getting on now. Let's be fair, and it will be interesting. Sarri, obviously, at Juventus now. That's an upgrade from David Luiz. Not to be rude to David Luiz, but that is an upgrade. He could be a Juve legend, or we'll see. We'll see, though. I don't know. It's interesting. a lot of players were kind of like saying, oh, he's gone there for football reasons, you know, Italy being like the land of great defenders and stuff like that, rather than, you know, De Jong, who went to Barcelona for the money. But it's like, I'm pretty sure De Ligt is getting paid more money. Like, Juventus don't do things on the cheap. You know, they're the one Italian club who can actually afford to pay big money. They make a lot of money off their stadium, and, you know, they have Champions League every year, and they win the league nearly every year. So, yeah, they can kind of afford him, and that's, I think, a very good signing for them. Very surprised someone like Man United didn't just come in and blow him out of the water, because that is 100% the type of player who Man United need right now. You know, a leader at the back, very good defender, very good at bringing the ball out, someone who can build from generation. And instead, what have Man United got? Nothing. So, yeah, you know, even someone like Man City, like, I don't know, it surprises me there wasn't more teams in for this guy. I think he is top, like a top defender. But I guess you know, you don't really know. I could understand Liverpool maybe not going for him, but yeah, surprising. If we move further up, we can see Bruno Manga from Man City to Dijon. Man City, Cardiff City, he wishes. And then Solomon Rondon. Very sad to see him go to China. Always liked Solomon Rondon. Always wanted Palace to kind of sign him. But he rejoined with Rafa, which is kind of cool, I think. He had a £16.5 million release clause. For me, it bugs me when I see things like that. And you know, I can understand him going to China. He's on a lot of money, and I think, you know, obviously teams like Crystal Palace couldn't really compete, but he's the sort of player Crystal Palace has been kind of begging for. And yeah, it saddens me to see him go for, you know, what is quite a low amount of money there. So yeah, looking through here, Zilhor, the City striker, going to West Brom. Looking what else we've got. Lys Mousset, Bournemouth to Sheffield United. I think this was quite a lot of money, right? Yeah, record fee was over 10 million, I think. Yeah, about 10 million. Not sure Lys Mousset is the guy who's going to keep you in the Premier League, but we'll see. He has 5 goals in 71 matches. Yeah. Let's see on that one, I think. Edson Alvarez, Club America, Ajax, 15 million, spending some of that cash. Ethan Ampadu going from Chelsea to Leipzig on loan. I think that's good this season. Like, I would imagine next season he's going to stay at Chelsea, but he's obviously a talent. Moving up, seeing what we can see here. Joe Linton, Hoffenheim to Newcastle, 40 million. Steve Bruce with his first signing, and surpasses the 21 million they paid for Miguel Almiron. Very interesting. So, you know, lost Rondon, but this is the guy who they think is going to replace him, who they think is going to be at that level. 11 goals in 35 appearances doesn't suggest that will be the case. But you know, he's 22, clearly talented. It could be a very, very good player. And Newcastle spending 40 million. So that's something to write home about, I guess. I honestly couldn't tell you what I think of that transfer in a way. In a way, I'm like, okay, they've you know, gone out there and spent the cash to sign a player. On the other way, I'm like, Joe Linton. Like, I don't know. It's a weird one. Something was just vibrating there on my computer. Okay. Looking up, I guess, Obiang leaving West Ham to go Sassuolo. Trezeguet going from Kasimpasa to Aston Villa. That's not David Trezeguet, by the way. Daniel De Rossi going to Boca Juniors was a weird one. That was a weird one, because I swear he's been, 18 seasons he's been in the Italian capital. 18 seasons, and he went to Boca Juniors. I mean, fair play. Like, I kind of respect that in a way, because the move orchestrated by De Rossi's friend Berdiso, he spent 5 years in Rome, and now the Bocas. Yeah, I kind of respect that, because he's saying I would like to play in a match against River Plate at the Bombonera. I see that stadium takes my breath away. I kind of completely understand that. So I think it was actually a cool move, rather than going to like, China or something like that. Like, yeah, play for Boca. Play in one of those crazy derbies. That'd be flipping awesome. So yeah, respect to De Rossi there. He's probably not getting paid a huge amount either, to be fair. But yeah, Ademola Lookman going to RB Leipzig. Joining up Ethan Ampezou there. I think he's a good player. I'm surprised. Okay, so they're saying 22 million. Again, that's the type of player who I'd like to have seen Palace going for. Disappointed. Yeah, he was on loan before at RB, so I guess he knows the club. Fair play to him. I hope it works out for him. As I say, every time I see English players go abroad, I always wish them the best, because you don't see it that often, and it takes guts to do that, in my opinion. William Saliba, Saint-Etienne to Arsenal, 27 million. So Arsenal, who don't have a lot of money, signed a player for 27 million, reportedly about half of their transfer budget, and then immediately loaned him back until next season. Does that seem a bit weird to anyone else? Yeah. I think Arsenal have got more money than what a lot of people have made out. Well, they clearly have more money. It's just whether or not, I guess, they want to spend it. They obviously have seen this as a long-term investment. I've heard very good things about him. But Arsenal really need centre-backs right now, this season. So I fail to see how this is going to help them in a way. Because if they don't finish Champions League this season, then they're still not going to be able to attract the players to play alongside Saliba next season. So what's the point? They got Ceballos from Real Madrid. Obviously, Arsenal fans are making out like he is the, Lionel Messi of Real Madrid. He's a good player. He clearly is a good player. Is he the guy to turn around, Arsenal's midfield? Don't know. And even if he is, they've signed him on loan. So yeah, I wouldn't be. I know, like, a lot of Arsenal fans, and maybe I get some stick for hating a little bit on Arsenal, but I don't necessarily hate Arsenal. I do hate Arsenal, but I don't necessarily hate them just for hating them. What I dislike about Arsenal is that they're clearly a massive club with this massive fan base. Got this great stadium, in North London, and they just seem to fuck everything up all the time. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, last time they signed a loan player from Spain, Denis Suarez. What happened there? I mean, Arsenal need defenders. Like, their attacking lineup, as long as they keep Lacazette and Aubameyang, is brilliant. It's world class, but you need some defenders, guys. Like, 27 million on a guy who's not even going to come to your club till next season blows my mind. Anyway, let's move on from Arsenal, because I could rant about them all day. Douglas Luiz, who's a young midfielder, Brazilian midfielder, going from Man City to Aston Villa. He's a decent player, but again, I'm like, is he the type of player who's going to keep Aston Villa up? I don't know. I think he's a good young player, and maybe he's the sort of player who's like, well, he could do well in Premier League, but he'll probably stay with us if we go down, sort of thing. Solid kind of investment there, I think, for 15 million. Jordan Ayew, Swansea to Palace, 2.5 million. Well done, Palace. You signed a player. A lot of Palace fans have been bemoaning Jordan Ayew and like, oh, this guy, he's not good enough, whatever. 2.5 million is nothing. Like, for a guy who played 25 times for us last season, he clearly is good enough to play in our team. What that says about our team, I don't know. But, 2.5 million is literally nothing, almost, to Premier League clubs. For a guy who, even if he makes 10 appearances off the bench, gets a goal, like that 2.5 million could be paid back just from that. So I think that's actually a decent signing, to be fair, for that price. I don't think he's a very good player, though. I know that might be a little bit, weird. Thomas Vermaelen going from Barcelona to Vissel Kobe, so he's gone to Japan for his, I guess, end of his career. Who else have we got here? Romain Sawyers is attacking midfielder, Brentford to West Brom, 3 million. Brentford have had a lot of business, haven't they? Jesus Vallejo going from Real Madrid to Wolves. Yep, so young Spanish defender. Could be a very decent loan signing for a season from Wolves. The difference between Wolves, I think, signing loan players like that and Arsenal is that Wolves are an up-and-coming club who they still can't quite attract that kind of like elite level of player, unless they're Portuguese. But they still can't quite attract that elite level. So, getting a loan player in from Real Madrid or Barcelona or Juventus or whatever isn't, the worst move for them. For Arsenal, I feel like it's a little bit beneath them in a way. It kind of shows that they dropped a little bit. That was there not that long ago Arsenal were competing with Real Madrid? I don't know. And now they're taking their, loan players who aren't good enough to play for Real Madrid. We'll see. I could be wrong. Yeah, he could be a brilliant player. We'll see. Philip Binging, Huddersfield to Bournemouth, 15 million. He's a kind of defensive midfielder. Idrissa Gueye, Everton to PSG, 29 million. Again, PSG signing an actual defensive midfielder. That's a rarity for them, so that's a very good signing, I think, for them. That's the confirmed ones. If we look at some of the rumours, we can see Pepe, the winger, in London to seal £72 million move to Arsenal. Where did Arsenal get this money from? I would find it weird that they would pay 72 million for Pepe, but they wouldn't pay more money for Zaha, who is a player who is settled in London and is a proven Premier League player. I find that a bit weird, personally. But there you go. Pepe scored a lot of goals last season. Second only to Kylian Mbappe, but it's League One. It's Ligue 1 in France. It's not the same. So he's expected to be announced as the Gunners' fourth signing. So they also signed a young Brazilian forward, I think he is Brazilian or Argentinian, not sure, South American, called Gabriel Martinelli. The midfielder Ceballos, and then the defender. Still haven't signed a defender though, have you, to play this season? Arsenal. Still going to play Mustafi, are you? Okay, let's see how that works out for you. Let's hope you can score more goals than the opposition, although I doubt it. Everton apparently agree £27 million keen fee with Juve. I think he looks like a really quality player, so that could be a very good signing for Everton. Everton also went in for Zaha as well. That was an interesting one. Let's see if we can go to the paper talk and have a look there. Yeah, that was an interesting one. They apparently bid like 52, something like that. Or 60, they're kind of saying here. But there was also a rumour of like 50 plus like Senk Tossen and MacArthur and stuff like that. And I'm like, don't know. Paper talk. Maguire wants to push through his dream Manchester United move. Okay. Angry Man United fan. Salman Rondos. He wanted to stay, but he knew he had to leave as soon as Rafa Benitez did. Yeah, good plan. Crystal Palace Premier move Newcastle centre-back Kieran Clark. Well, that's just inspiring, isn't it? Arsenal want £10 million Christian Bilic, who impressed on loan at Charlton last season. Arsenal. God help you. Gareth Bale, yeah. So he was supposed to be going to China in this like massive money move for him, and then the president of Real Madrid just cut it, even though Zidane has made it very clear he doesn't want Bale. Don't know why. They've obviously fallen out over something, but yeah, sad to see this with Gareth Bale. I think he's such a quality player, but the problem he has is he's on so much money that no one can really afford to pay those wages, that transfer fee that they want, probably apart from a Chinese club, because I don't think we're going to see a big European team come in for him, because I think he's 30 now. I think he's had a lot of injuries. He's a risk. Yeah, he is a risk, and unless he's prepared to take a massive pay cut, which I don't think he is prepared to do that, then, or unless Real Madrid are prepared to pay some of his wages, which I don't think they are, then they could be stuck with him, and that would just be a massive waste, in my opinion. It would be very sad to see, because I think he's had a really good career at Real Madrid, and everyone's kind of remembering the last sort of 12 months or so, where he's kind of been bullied almost, and it's sad because I think he's had a very good career. I think his Real Madrid move would be classed as a success. Like, I think he's won like 4 Champions League, is it 4 or 5 in his time there, and a league. I think he's not doing bad. Milinkovic-Savic to Man United. I mean, we'll see. Eden Hazard was overweight. Yep. Okay. Wow. Ollie McBurney to Sheffield United, 20 million. Okay. Fair. Stoke have slapped a 25 million valuation on Jack Butland. Why would that slam the door on his return to the Premier League? Like, Premier League clubs can afford 25 million. Okay, so Moise Kean apparently has agreed to join Everton, but they're trying to strike out a deal with Juve. Can't blame the guy for wanting to leave. He just gets massively racially abused every match, so, fair play to him. Stanley and Socky apparently wants to go to Newcastle. Virgil van Dijk insists Kieran Tierney has all the tools to be a smash hit at Arsenal. Arsenal need defenders. Okay. Craig Gordon is set. Okay, yep, fine. Okay, so not too much going on here, I guess. The Zaha thing's still going on. The Diabala to Spurs thing as well was very interesting. Just to get off topic a little bit, was like, suddenly out of the blue, it was kind of like, oh, Spurs are trying to sign Diabala, and you're like, what? Okay, there's no rumours here. Weird one, but that would be interesting if that one goes through. Zaha, there's still rumours of him going and stuff like that, but no one seems to be able to pay the price, and then there's rumours that he wants to move, and his brother came out and said all this kind of stuff. At the end of the day, if he goes, he goes. I've kind of said this before about him. If he goes, I'll be very sad, because I think he's a brilliant player, and I love him playing for my club, because I love watching him play. But I would not begrudge him going to a big club. My problem with him going to an Everton or Arsenal is I don't feel like it's a big enough step up for him. I think he's better than that, but we'll see. We will see. But I think that kind of concludes our kit and transfer rumours. I'll pop back again. The next video will be the fantasy football one. I think we've got 10 days, I think, till the start of the season, or the deadline to kind of enter in. So that's pretty exciting. So I'll do that within the next few days, really, and have a look at a team, and we'll do a discussion on that. So that'd be great, and I'll get the league set up as well for another season. Till then, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.